All right, thanks everybody for coming. We do have 4 people here so far. I think Matt's supposed to eventually be here. He said he'd see me at 6, so. Um, so really, we're just going over the tentative budget. If anybody had any questions, I know I've gone over with Jim and Peter, and Tyler was just going over some of it already, so if you have any questions, or you want to start at the beginning, you know. So we're keeping everything under 2%, actually 1.74 so far, and then, you know. Yeah, like I said, it's not too much to it. We did 3% for everybody for raises. Some of the revenue stuff, we went up on some things, especially the interest. Mortgage tax, we went up a little bit too still, but we still tried to stay a little conservative with the mortgage tax because,
How was it this past year?
well, we were just talking about that. Oh, here's Matt. Hey, Matt. This year, the first check we got, which we really only got one so far, we should be getting the second quarter any day now. I'd have to ask Ann if you even got it, but it's been running like 126,000. So if we got 4 checks of that, that's 500, and not saying that every one of them will be that, but so.
And last year, what was?
We had 350, so we're gonna break that. So she did bump it up a little bit for the 400,000 this year for the mortgage tax.
Now is that mainly on properties sold or?
Yeah.
Because we're not getting anything else.
No.
Not hotel or
No.
Airbnb.
Yeah, this is coming from the county saying that.
So
A lot of
properties,
sales.
so properties are moving.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, it's been really good. So, but eventually the housing market's gonna fall. So
Right. Is that, how much of that, how much of that was in new property sales?
no. I'll have to ask Ann if we get a breakdown of what everything is. I've only ever seen just a check come and it says mortgage tax. So, but I can ask Ann about that. Some of the other things that are on here, big numbers, but the earned interest was a lot. We were just looking at that. We went up quite a bit this year, but the feds did just lower it. So we're still trying to be a little conservative on that, in a general account. So we've, last year we said we'd have 60,000 in interest, and we flew by that a while ago. So we bumped it up to 100 this year.
That's a great increase in income.
Yeah.
Over the 1,000 that we got previously.
Yeah. And as of right now, we still have like $8 million in New York class. So
How much did we actually get last year from night class?
I want to say it was like 286,000, but that wasn't a full year. That was because we didn't really end up putting everything in until the end of July. So we piecemealed it to feel it out, remember? So we only put certain amounts in there, but now we have it all in there, and all of them are making pretty good interest. So I'm hoping we're be in a range of, 300 to 350,000 this year, just in interest. So in the 2 years, we'll be over 500. So
great.
Next on page 5 or page 4. It's a breakdown of all the, the justices. Like I said, everybody really is all 3%. We didn't go above anything else. No catching up this year. So pretty much everybody's at 3%. Everybody is at 3%. So anybody have any questions about any of this?
Mm, No, I mean, did we figure out the public works administration that was Tiffany and Joanne?
Yes, yep. And then the only other thing on here that we still kind of have is the Board of Ethics. We don't have anymore, but we still kept 250 in that line just in case something happens or, you know, we decide throughout the year, there's some money in there to.
But we would have to appoint a board, would we not?
Right, yeah. But right now we have no reasoning for it and nobody's really asking for it, so. That 250 at the end of the year, if, you know, we need a budget modification and uses it, you know, to clean it up or whatever. Next page is really just the same as the other one. Most of them are all, you know, the 3% raises. Some of the street lighting expenses. The only one I have to check into is the Meek expense personal services. Tyler pointed it out to me. So I gotta check on that one because that went up 15,000 and I'm not really 100% which on that is.
Could
So-
that be the kayak rental that we bought?
No. No, because there's no expense with that afterwards. And this is for personnel services. So. I have to ask Ann on that one. But then the rest of them are all normal. Oh, the youth program. We bumped that up a little bit. So we went up because the park or the camp did really well this year.
Mike, before you flip the page, there was two on here that just were bigger. Remember, just simple printing and mailing. And I assume like mailing expenses and stuff like
That's
that.
that
just-
machine we have
Okay.
for the mailers. So that prints all the stamps and everything with it.
Mhm.
That their prices went up, you know, even stamps went up this year. So
Okay.
their price went up. So we had to keep
Isn't that based on postal rates?
postal rates, yeah.
Um,
And then how much we use it and stuff like that.
Fair enough. I just wanted to double check. One that went down almost 10,000 under central data processing, and it just says contractual expenses.
Yeah, so this one went down because we've done a lot with the computers and they upgraded a lot of our stuff. So that price is gonna come down this year because we don't need, you know, a lot of
It's like
different
a
new
cyclic expense.
Yeah, so that came down a little bit. One thing that we'll have to see how it goes, the dog control services. We were talking about it, we're having issues with, you know, kennels again. So that got brought up again about, what we might do as far as building our own kennels. So that's something that we might go into next year. Trying to get a grant. And then maybe, you know, we'll have to use some of the fund balance, you know, to get these things up and running.
But if we were to do that, would that require us then to have somebody to watch over the dogs?
Well, yeah, it would be the responsibility of the dog control officer. She would make sure what's in there, what days, and, you know, if they're in there for more than, they're only supposed to stay a day or two. And it's actually supposed to save us money because she pays a lot of money to have them stored.
Right.
So if we had our own place, she wouldn't have to pay. But it is probably a little bit more work for herself. But
But it's something that she'd be able to handle.
yeah. And not only that, but this year has been a nightmare trying to get dogs into places. She said it's just been every time she brings a dog, they're denying her, and then she has to go to another place.
Because what, they're full.
They're full.
All you gotta do is go on Facebook.
Yeah. So I mean, we're
Clear, we're not doing, not to cut you off, Mike, we don't want to do like a humane society.
No.
Type, like you're not, people can't just drop their dog off here. This is solely for her. Instead of leaving them in the truck, she can leave them in the building.
which has heat and air.
Right.
You know, and it'll have water and everything else because Ags and Market has their own qualifications for a shelter, so that we'd have to follow that.
Sure.
So. Any more on that page? I'll check into that one.
I'm sorry, where were we looking to locate this?
We have a spot, down by the highway department. So it's secure and it's up behind the, salt shed. So it's a flat piece of property. We'd have to do a little bit of clearing, but it's not terrible. So, and Tommy Morrow is on board with it, and we also can use the water system out of the highway department.
I think it's a good location in
Yeah.
regards to neighbors and things like
Right.
that.
Yeah, good for noise.
I got one more for you, on special items. Top of the page 5.
Yep.
I see that there was an increase in.
Insurance.
25,000. Yeah, I got, so unallocated, what is unallocated,
That's the health insurance.
unexpected increases?
Yeah, they went up a ton. So, not only that, but that Reese Group, their insurance went up a lot this year too. So, all the insurances went up. Next. Next is adult recreation. The seniors. We've always helped the seniors. Their budget was always like 9,600 a year. But this year, when they tried to do some trips, the prices of the buses went through the roof. So they asked for 15,000. We gave them 12,500. So that's an increase of like almost $3,000. And we've always been good to the seniors. So if they did need some extra, we're always there to help them out.
Oh, I
anyways.
think that's a great thing, especially the closer I get, so.
Yeah. So,
Always planning ahead.
yeah. All right. Yeah, that's really it on this page. With dedicated landfill, we have to have that. That's something I didn't check into yet. I don't know how many more years we got it, but I think it's a long time. That we have to, maintain that.
Are we down to annual or still quarterly monitoring?
No, I think we're still quarterly.
Maybe that's something to talk to the engineer, like pushing to get it to, twice a year or
Because the numbers
once
are
a year.
way down.
The numbers are low.
Yeah.
The reports that we get, it's.
So
there's only
that's-
22
that's-
that they- or spots that they tested. That seems.
that's a good negotiation point. Then we should push our engineers to,
See how many we do.
yeah, if we can cut back on the frequency of the sampling.
Yeah. All right, next page, zoning fees. These all pretty much stayed the same except the building fees. The building department's been pretty busy this year. So we bumped that up, 35,000. So, they'll take in well over 250. They're gonna bring. We had 215 this year and they're past 250, I think, almost
Already.
now, so.
The home stretch.
Yeah. Engineering fees went down. And so did planning attorney fees, so. They both went down.
Now, aren't a lot of those covered by, the applicants on the
Yes.
project?
Yeah. But not, not all of them, Peter, they still, like. They have set fees on certain things that we do pay. Engineering fees on like certain things that we do. We ask Padgy or something to come take a look at something.
Especially for town. projects.
Yeah, like the unsafe buildings we've done and stuff like that, so.
Peter, those were the revenues, so they're the ones that like the builders tag in, right? And then the expenses are on the other, when we flip the page, they're on the other side.
What? Bigger ones.
Yeah,
Same ones though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So contractual expenditures for the engineer. It's the same as engineer fees. You know what I mean? Just on both sides.
Thank you.
Now, this is the building department, you know. Mary's fee, you know, and then the girls. Same thing, they all went up 3%. Oh, and then the equipment, the safety inspection software. So that was a new cost to us this year, so that's why that's a new line. We had to revamp our whole building department software, which cost us like
So
$6,000.
she's working on a tablet and
Well, yeah, but their software went up, so, and they discontinued the other software, so we had to revamp it. And so that's where that's coming in.
coming and going.
Yeah. And then the rest of this is planning and zoning, their stipends and stuff like that. And then town cleanup.
Big increase on health.
Yep.
So.
So this is highway fund, services and other governments. And then this is the DA fund. So personnel, machinery, equipment, overtime services, part-time services. Personnel services, that went up based on the contract. So,
So Mike, this is one question that I had that I forgot to ask you is like the equipment line. Do we want that to be higher so Tommy can go buy a truck instead of have to come to us and ask for money out of the equipment line? You know what I mean? Then he doesn't have to wait for our permission. If something comes up, he can just buy it.
it messes up the numbers in your budget. So
Okay.
then you'd have to put it somewhere else, you know, because now you'd be over the 2% tax or increase.
You got to lower it.
Yeah. So
from
either
something
way,
else.
so even if we took it out of the fund balance at the beginning and put it in that line and then increase this, it's still just kind of the same. So when we go to buy a truck, it's really just a referendum that we just move money out of their special account.
But we still have to wait 30 days, right? So it's like if it's a sale and it's a good
Right.
truck, he has to wait a month. He can't get it because we don't have nearly enough to buy a truck. It was just a thought in my head, you know what I mean? I don't mean to bring it up as like an argument. It's just a
Yeah.
thought, right?
But
If he wants to go buy a brand new triaxle tomorrow, $100,000 doesn't buy a truck, doesn't buy a backhoe anymore.
right, but it covers his equipment for like,
It's small stuff.
yeah.
Right.
small
He doesn't even buy a mason dump anymore, right? They're
Yeah.
125,000.
Yeah. So, and
So-
which he actually used this year on some of his other things, like when we go bought that new top kick. We ended up taking it out of his equipment because not the whole truck, but like the plow system and the sander, because he had extra money and he didn't have anything else he was gonna spend it on, so we took it out of that, his equipment line, so. It all works out. He, like I said, he has a lot of money in his fund balance and we can just move things around. You know, when it comes to buying a truck, and every truck anyway, it's taken a year to get anyway, so we have plenty of time to, you know, do a referendum and get 30 days. We still haven't gotten a top kick. It was supposed to be done in, I think, September. And he's been calling because that's gonna be the perfect truck for Westboro
The
Hills,
hills, yeah,
and we haven't gotten it yet.
getting close.
So,
We're not getting no snow this year, sorry, guys.
It's not what the woolly worms are telling me.
any more on that page? We good? All right, the next page is the state aid, that's the chips. And then the money and interest and stuff like that. Sale of equipments. We beat this year, but that's just some years we don't sell anything, so. And just left it at 1,000. And then the next page has the gasoline that we just talked about. It was at 144. We're not gonna be close to spending that this year, so we knocked it down to 135. And then their raises and stuff, and then retirement. And then really almost done. The next page is Fire Protection District, Westbrookville. They went up there 2%.
They didn't request anymore.
No. And then this is the next one, Wordsboro Refuge and Garbage District. Now, this changed a lot this year, but this is all comes out of their taxes anyway. So last year we were only paying 90,000 for garbage. And it went up to 189,000 this year with a new contract. So it went up 98,000, but like I said, it comes out of their taxes.
Boy, that's some increase.
It's still cheaper than if you hired somebody.
And
It
that's
works out to like $30 a month.
Yeah,
per
which
resident.
saves $10 to $20.
Where they were paying real cheap, it was probably like $18 a month, on their taxes for a garbage pickup, which,
How is that not like a pass through?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't affect anybody else in the town.
Right.
It just that special district. And then same with the lights. Actually, Bloomingburg went down because after the first year, we found out that they're not burning, maybe it's because the LEDs, but their electric bill's only going to be like 2,000 or 1,800. So
17.
now, yeah, what is it? 8?
So we're not gonna start at the lights again.
Well,
like-
Chris ain't here.
Pardon me for putting you on the spot. How are we doing with the LED conversion? Is it complete?
No, because Central Hudson is dragging us along. So we're waiting to get the final numbers from Central Hudson so they can move on to their next step. But we've been back and forth with them for over a month.
All right, so is there anything going on with Owen Hart or is it strictly?
They're helping us.
All right, Central Hudson's.
Yeah. They're supposed to work out the numbers per light and everything for the buyback. And we haven't gotten that number yet.
Okay,
So,
thanks, Mike.
and then even in the lighting district, to keep their taxes down a little bit on that first page, if you notice, they have a lot in their fund balance too. So we took a little bit out and to try and keep their taxes down. So their lighting districts went down 9% in Somerville, 12% in Phillipsport, and 20% lower in Williamsburg. So try and save them a little bit of money. Hopefully they'll see the difference. And then next is the Mamaking First Aid Squad. They kept it at 2%. Special districts. And then the last page is just the salaries for everybody. And that same thing, that's all 3%. Everybody went up 3%.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't, my first two budgets were a little bit tougher to learn and, this one came in pretty easy. So, I think 1.75 is pretty good overall.
What's that, the other budget increase?
No.
1.75 increase?
Yeah.
No, I think everything presented to me tonight seems reasonable.
Yeah, so that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
You answered all my questions tonight, Mike.
How we doing with
Except for
the,
one.
I'm
You
sorry.
gotta look in that. Sorry, Matt.
Which one?
The Mook one.
Yeah.
That was
yeah, I figured
that's
that.
my one question.
Yeah, that was a good pickup on that one.
And Anne actually was gonna make it here tonight, but she wasn't sure if she was gonna get here or not, so.
the allocation for the veterans, have any of the organizations asked you for?
Nope. We kept them the same. We didn't get
Okay.
anything from anybody. The only ones that put in was the seniors. You know, so. Same thing to do with veterans, and I've had that talk with Mark, you know, from the BFW.
Mark F, yeah.
You know, we're always willing to help, so if they end up in a bind and they did something, you know, this board's always been pretty good to them, so.
Yeah, picked up the banners.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm supposed to get like 30 more here soon.
Just time to put them in the basement.
I don't know where poor Wurtsboro's gonna put them all. You know, they're double sided now.
Well, they come down in the winter, don't they?
Yeah, we're gonna wait until after Veterans Day, and then we're gonna take them all down. So. But Mark said we have another probably 30 to put up.
Pine Street, Legion Way.
Okay. All right, so we'll be ready for the public hearing, and then we'll set that, and then we'll move on with the budget. All right, I'll touch base with Gary and John Roofer to make sure they don't have any questions. John Roofer looked at it already. He didn't have any questions. I haven't heard from Gary, so I will double check with him. And then we'll set up the public hearing at the next meeting. Or did we already? No.
I don't think so.
I don't
You're
think-
setting it at the next meeting.
That's what I thought. Thanks, Brittany.
Very welcome.
It's like that movie you ever see where the.
I don't know, I always forget that you're out there, Brittany.
Yeah.
Thank you for keeping an eye on us.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm all good.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys. And then we'll see you at the next meeting next week.
Thank you. Next.
Thanks.